I remember one of the things that kind of stood out to me in your first book when I read it was that you said that most of these artists aren't really that talented. They just got lucky and got put into a certain position.
Did I say that?
Something like that.
You may have
said rappers.
I probably meant it at the time. I mean, a lot of people aren't that talented. There's more than talent. It's kind of like, let's take it back to the conversation we had earlier about the Drake and Meek situation, right? How Meek's response wasn't terrible, but everyone was like, "Oh, it's terrible." There, you know, it's like people see what they want to see, how they want to see it. Drake looks better. He just looks, it just, the imagery is just better. So we're just going to say he's the better one because it looks better. Same thing with artists. That's why you have packaging. That's why you have someone coming in telling you how to wear your hair and what to wear and gain weight, lose weight, get a tan, do this, do that, because the packaging matters a lot of times more than the actual talent. And a lot of people aren't really talented. That goes for singers too. There are a lot of singers. I've been in the studio with, I have a group of friends who are songwriters who write songs for major acts like Gaga and Britney and Taylor. Yeah. They write those songs. And I'm in the studio with them watching them write songs. And I'm watching these artists come in and sing these songs terribly. And I'm watching these people fix it because they're not that talented, you know, but the packaging is good.
Oh yeah, no, my first office, the first Vlad TV office was in a studio in New York. And I saw just black magic happen in that studio with auto-tune and like you know, you would hear the person singing it and you're like, okay, this is like the worst thing I've ever heard. And then, you know, you'd see the engineer and the producer tinker with it for like, you know, 2-3 days, and then after that you're like, this can't be the same thing that I just heard. Like this actually sounds pretty good. Yeah, and that goes back even, you know, back to the Drake and Meek thing about who's writing what songs and who's got a ghostwriter and all these things that hip hop cares about that the rest of the world doesn't care about. Because there's not one artist alive that writes every single thing all the time, constantly, because you don't have fucking time. And so, especially when it comes to, like the track that came out, right? The reference track. Everyone has reference tracks. An artist will write something, leave it because he doesn't have time. Go do something else. Come back in a day or two and someone's laid down the reference track to show them how that song can fit on top of that beat. And then they go in there and they do it their own way, a little better, put their twist on it. But there's, you know, no man is an island, and it takes a village to create an album. So there's all this packaging that goes in behind the scenes. The thing with consumers is that they don't know all of that. They don't see all of that. It's kind of like when you go to a movie, everyone leaves when the credits start, except for the people who are in the business. And you can, here in LA, you see it a lot. The people who are sitting when the credits are rolling, they're in the business. They're reading the credits. They want to know who the prop master is. They want to know who did the boom. They want to know who did the lighting. The consumer doesn't care about that. They just want to see the show. And so when all of that came out, I was thinking, why is everyone saying this man? First of all, Drake not only wrote, I'm sure, his own stuff to a degree, whatever that degree is. I've never been in the studio with him, but I know that he was writing stuff for Wayne as well. You know what I mean? Because Wayne was looking to change something. I know that he was rewriting things. I know Wayne told me that he was teaching him how to tell better stories, how to ride the beat differently, because Wayne always rides the beat a certain way while Drake rides it another way. So, you know, the student was becoming the teacher and kind of teaching him how to do something different because, you know, things have gotten stagnated for a while. A lot of artists help each other out that way. They write things for each other. They collaborate on things, you know, and then they teach each other different flows. We've seen different artists switch their flows up in different songs, especially, remember when Southern rap got really popular, you would see sometimes an East Coast rapper would switch to a Southern flow. Double time.
To kind of create that buzz.
So this is interesting. And we've talked about this off camera before. So Drake has helped Wayne write some of his stuff, because I know they've collaborated a lot, but you always assume that, okay, we're working together, but these are my verses, I'm writing my verses, and Wayne's going to write his verses. And
no, Wayne told me that Drake had written some things for him, and I was in the studio with Wayne listening to something that Drake had written, because Wayne can't write like that, and he'll be honest about it. He only writes a certain way.
So was Drake actually doing like a reference track for him, or was he just writing it down?
No, it was already written, and by the time I got to the studio, Wayne had already recorded it. So I don't know whether there was a reference. There probably was a reference. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But by the time I had gotten to the studio, Wayne had already recorded what Drake had written for him, and it might have just been a verse or whatever on I don't know whose song it was.
But it wasn't a song that they did together.
I don't
single?
know. I don't know. I didn't hear the finished product. But I remember having the conversation with Wayne about how, and he admitted, I don't know how to tell stories. He said, I just, the jokes that people make, just pussy and weed, and that's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, is there a song where Wayne doesn't talk about sex? I don't know if that actually exists.
I mean, there's Pussy Money Weed. That's the name of a song. It's called Pussy Money Weed.
Right.
That's the name of it.
I mean, I remember like Nicki Minaj had made a comment, like, I don't even know if Wayne has a song that doesn't include sex. And
everything has sex.
Yeah.
Everything has pussy, money, and weed in it.
Right.
That's it.
You're right. And there's not a lot of stories.
And it's not, So he was very honest, and he says, I don't write that way. I don't know how. So Drake was just kind of showing him how to take his ideas and turn them into a story, and to make that story come back around. So, and that's a skill. That's a storytelling skill. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah.
And so there was a particular song that Drake had written and or helped him write that would help him kind of do that. And I remember him saying that Drake was also showing him how to ride the beat different. Something like, on top of the beat versus behind the beat, or whatever, where, whatever that phrasing was, where Wayne was like, yeah, I always do it this way, but he does it this way. So he's just showing me how to do it another way. You know what I mean? And so I thought that was really big of him to allow his student to teach him.
Right. I know Drake really looks up to Wayne.
Absolutely. And they look up to each other. Wayne, when he talked about Drake with me, like he just really respected what he did and how he did it in his process, especially as Wayne has gotten older. I know that he felt like the old man. He would call himself like the old man, because he felt old and dated.
Well, I think Wayne even said it in an interview that, and this was a while ago, like 3-4 years ago, where he said that he felt that Drake was already a bigger star than him.
Yeah, and he knows that. He knows that. And I think, that may be a little hard. I think that it's difficult for the person you brought in to be better than you. Drake's better today than Wayne is today. To me. Today.
I mean, it depends how you look at it. I mean, I remember asking Akon the same question with T-Pain. Because Akon brought in T-Pain, and I said, depending on how you look at it, I mean, it was at a particular time.
At that moment, right?
At that moment, I say some people would say that this artist that you brought in, T-Pain, is actually bigger than Akon right now. He said, I agree. Mm-hmm. He said, that was my point. He's like, I'm not trying to sit there and have to sing into my 60s and 70s.
Akon definitely has no interest in, he's 40-something years old. And I know for a fact he had no interest in carrying on his music thing longer than he did. And so it's important to have replacements. I think that's the difference between Khan and his artist versus Wayne and his. Wayne still wants to keep going.
Yeah.
And I really wish he would stop. Not because he can't or he shouldn't. I just feel like it's hard when you brought in artists that are so dope, and so new and so fresh and so young. I feel like Wayne as an artist, it's just me as a fan, is beaten down and tired right now. There's a lot of other things happening. And I think that it reflects in the music. He dropped that thing on Tidal and nobody cared. It wasn't, for the first time, Wayne wasn't trending.
You're right. Actually, I didn't really think about it that way. And I think part of the reason that happened was because it was on Tidal.
But so was the Rihanna thing. Like, Rihanna dropped her video. People are dropping things on Tidal that are making noise, but being on Tidal doesn't help if it's a
smaller install base.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. And I thought that was a bad move. I think he was better off just dropping it for free somewhere. I know why he did it, but and Baby still, I guess, is suing.
Yeah.
So he didn't get away with anything or whatever, but still no one cared. I mean, if you wanted to, you could have joined Tidal for free, got the free download, and then quit Tidal and then talked about it. There was a time when people would kill their mother to get to a Wayne download, and that time has passed. And so right now, I feel like the teacher, the student has become the teacher, the master actually for right now in this moment, and I wish that Wayne would just be the guy, you know what I mean, that brought this young person in.